Hi, I'm Elemi from Yeyeo Botanica. Welcome back. Today's going to be so good, 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 good. Where are all of you today? I'm not seeing all of you. There you are. Oh, there we are. There you are. I'm excited to see you too. All right. So remember, we're www.yeyeo. We're a spiritual and wellness supplier, which is why I do videos about all things spiritual. And I'm Elemi, the owner of Yeyeo Botanica. Welcome. So I want to shout out, shout out, shout out. Let me see who's my first shout out. Let me see who's my first shout out. Woo! Come on in. Come on in. Australia. Woohoo! California, Florida, Atlanta, Hawaii, Washington, Bloomfield, New Jersey, Brooklyn. Thank you, thank you. North Carolina, Louisiana, San Antonio, Chicago, Colorado, Philly, Jamaica, Netherlands, Virginia, Amsterdam. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, yeah, we're getting fired up now. So, today I thought we could talk a little bit about all different ideas around spirituality and mental health. Indiana, Mississippi. All right, Alafia all. Thanks for joining us. So, one of the things I've learned over the years is that a lot of times people they are involved in spirituality, they come to spirit to learn how to take care of themselves, honor their ancestors, their lineage, empower themselves. And one of the things I've learned over the years is that if we're not mentally good, if we're not in a good place, we're not able to receive the information, the blessings from spirit. It's really difficult to hear what we're being told because sometimes we're too much in our emotions, in our thoughts, and we're not able to receive the messages, much less act on the messages, whether they be blessings that are coming, things to watch out for. And I've learned that some of these ways of being are spiritual, and some of them, many of them, can be cured through spirituality. And so I wanted to chat with you all today a little bit about how you can use your spirituality, no matter what you practice, to elevate yourself and to break away some of these mental patterns that are keeping us stuck, frustrated, cloudy, not focused, and keep us from our highest good. Why? Because we're all here to achieve our highest good. And so if we're not in a really good mental place, again, we're not able to reach those goals and those aspirations that we are seeking. So have some notes today because I wanted to make sure that I cover some areas that I think would be helpful to all of you, and for us to realize that these are things that we can overcome and or reduce. So mental health, when we talk about mental health, today I'm very specifically speaking about mental health areas that we can address. We're not talking today about diagnosed situations that are incurable. We're talking about things that can be spiritually motivated, and that are ailments that are sometimes even learned behavior, right? So I am not a mental health professional, but I am an expert in spirituality. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how spirituality is really going to help you to break through anxiety, depression, feeling stuck, misdirected, frustrated, all of these different emotions that just kind of well up in us and get stuck up here and do not allow us to act, right? So I thought a little bit about how we could explore this conversation, because I was thinking about what are some great subjects for lives. So if you guys have any good live subjects, comment, comment, comment. I want to see them so I can add them to my list. And so, what does it mean to have mental health concerns as it pertains to spirituality, as it pertains to what drives that? And so I first want to give a few instances where we can have some mental health challenges, but they're really, really challenges that we can put a pin on it in terms of where it comes from. So when we think about spirituality, no matter whether or not we want to put that under the category of just being free spiritually, practicing whatever it is that we want, or being in a particular system, whether it be a religious system or a way of being, a way of looking at life, it's supposed to give us or lend itself to helping us through a few different things. And we could be here for a very long time having this conversation, but I want to touch on a few ways that spirituality can really, what it's there to do for us, right? And so a sense of worth, it brings us a sense of worth in our life, right? Direction and guidance. Spirituality is supposed to give us that feeling of, yeah, I'm doing it, this is where I'm going, this is what's going on with me, I'm empowered, I can break through, right? Meaning, giving us a place where we feel, life, I know what my truth is, I know what it is, the source is telling me, how I'm guided, I know that I'm connected, right? So spirituality also gives us a feeling of connectedness, whether it be through being connected to the divine and or being connected in community, like we're here today in community together, sharing with each other. Another way that spirituality can impact our lives, right? So if we're not feeling connected, whether it be to ourselves or to our community, we're disconnected. We're disconnected sometimes in our mind, we're disconnected physically. And now, especially going through this time of everything is virtual, and a lot of people are not seeing each other as much. We have social distancing. That also can add to this idea of having mental health challenges and or not feeling connected. And if we're not feeling connected, we're usually not feeling guided, right? All of the things that we talked about that spirituality is supposed to bring to our lives. And that will also lead to being out of balance. And so spirituality helps to give us that feeling and that view of balance, in addition to, if we're out of balance here, we're not able to experience balance through spirituality, right? Aruba! All right. So if we're out of balance, We're not able to connect in relationships. And remember that spirituality helps us to connect, helps us to reduce stress, right? Because mental health challenges can come about through stress, right? So things like anxiety comes from stress. And so the word that we've been talking about in the store and around me lately has been fear, right? False evidence appearing real. It's not real. In the Yoruba faith, just to share with you all, there are negativities, right? There are negativities in the world. And so fear is thought of as one of those negativities, that people continuously do spiritual work to overcome fear, right? So fear and stress live together, and they cause us disturbance up here, right? Which then finds its way in our body. So people have different kinds of health ailments as a result of stress. And then it finds itself in our surroundings, right? So spirituality also gives us a sense of peace. And again, if we're not at peace, we're usually having some mental health issues, including depression. So we talked about anxiety, we talked about depression, and those two I would say are maybe the most popular as it pertains to something that every human being experiences at some point, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something diagnosable, right? We're not talking about very deep, lifelong conditions. And some of those spirituality can address, but for the sake of today, we're not going to get into some of those deeper ailments. So anxiety, I wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety for a moment, because remember, anxiety is definitely driven through fear, right? People have, and there are a lot of different kinds of anxieties, if you will, different diagnosis of different types of anxiety, right? Including phobias. So people with anxiety disorder frequently have intense feelings of that are persistent. They're worried. They're fearful about situations. Oftentimes they live in a state of panic, depending on the level of anxiety that people are having. It interferes with your daily life. It interferes with your communication with others. It interferes with just going out there and feeling your best, right? It brings forth insecurity again up here, right? Because insecurity is not something tangible, right? This is something that is within us. And oftentimes people sometimes feel like, oh my God, there's danger, right? Anxiety oftentimes bring forth these feelings of danger, of distrust, all of these different types of things. Now, I want to say sometimes people even avoid going out as a result of anxiety, but anxiety and depression, both of these things can be in phases of our life, can be things that we're born with in terms of we've had it from childhood. It could be that we had a stress, so this came on, right? And so I want to know before I go on, how many people believe they've inherited or learned anxious behavior? Let's see how many of you guys in like 30 seconds. I think these things happen through lack of, I didn't see the rest of that. Yep, 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 yep. Very good. It can be inherited and it can be learned. And so if you can inherit it, as in watching people in your family, because they can inherit learning how to be anxious, and then we see that as an example, and then we start mimicking that same behavior, right? There's a young lady, you guys know I like to tell little tidbits along the way. there's a young lady, teenager, who was extremely anxious. I mean, just extremely anxious to the point where she would go to school, she was throwing up, she was having diarrhea, all these different things happening to her. And I did a head alignment. I read her, gave her some baths, and did a head alignment, right? Being aligned with your Ori, your higher self. And after this part, we're going to talk a little bit about, at the end, things to do to overcome that. My boyfriend died and it started. Very good, right? I'm so sorry to hear that. So that's an example, right, of a stress, something that happened in life that now caused this behavior. So much so that if you live with this mental pattern for too long, it can become a part of your way of being. So much so that sometimes people have to get therapy or some kind of counseling to break that, right? To see where the seed of that um, started. Sorry, guys, I keep reading comments. Yes, come to New Jersey. So some of the feelings that we get in terms of whether it be inherited and or learned. So I was talking about the young lady. She learned this behavior from watching her mother being very anxious all the time, always worried about something, telling her no all the time, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. So much so that it made her so paranoid that she didn't want to do things. Why? Because the program is continuously don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, right? So it makes the person not want to be their fullest because they're thinking, oh, there's something bad is going to happen if I start to do X, Y, and Z, right? So if someone said here, I'm always worried. And so I want to speak to that for a moment before I go on. And so the question is, worried about what? False evidence appearing real. I want everyone who hears this today to write that somewhere, right? We learned this stuff when we were younger. I want you to write it somewhere. False evidence appearing real. Why? Because worry and fear is of something that is intangible. Now, I will say they are spiritual issues that people can have that brings forth these feelings of worry. And sometimes they're not always good. They can be curses. If you haven't seen my curses video, Are You Cursed? You want to watch that to see if any of those cues may be going on in your life. It can also be that the environment in which you live or where you are needs to be spiritually clean. There's too much blocked energy, which is making the person not feel like, not right. Their spark is dim. Their light is dim. Yes, false evidence appearing real. So these feelings are anxiety and depression very, very specifically. And I'm harping on those because those are things that everyone has. Children get it, adults get it, seniors get it. Hello, I'm going to share with you, animals get it as well. Quick sidebar, my dog, I had got, this is years ago when my dog's name was Puff Daddy. I miss my Puff Daddy. So, Puff Daddy, we got another dog. Someone gifted me a dog and I brought him home, and this dog was young and playing and carrying on, and Puff Daddy wasn't having it. So what happened? After a while, in about a week or so, he started just laying around, laying around, laying around. He would not move. And so I thought, oh my God, this dog is eating something. There's something wrong with him. He's not drinking. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. So I called someone who her boyfriend was a vet, and I spoke with him on the phone. So we're just chit chatting. And then um, I said to him, I said, since we got this new dog, he's been acting this way. And the vet goes, What? New dog? He says, your dog is depressed. And I said, oh my God, I didn't even know dogs could get depressed. Right? So I say that to say that these are natural emotions. Oh, you all love my puff daddy. Gonna have to look for a picture for him and post it one day. So these are feelings that everyone gets, right? Everyone gets these feelings. It's whether or not they become a way of life. So I've read people who Spirit tells them, go start taking sweet baths, right? Go start taking sweet baths. And before I go into a little bit more detail on what happens when we're having these mental disorders and how to medicate them, I just want to share one thing. So I'll share a few things. So you can do anointings to yourself, right? One of the biggest things that I notice when we're all going through these trials is we don't pray enough. It doesn't matter what you say, as long as you're saying something for yourself. It doesn't need to be from a book. It doesn't need to be from a doctrine in particular. It needs to be from you. Why? Because the infinite and the I. Someone asked in I think it was a live that I did, and I said the I is within you. I and I are one. And so the person made a comment. So if you're watching, this is for you. What does I and I mean? Well, I'm the I. You're the I. You don't introduce yourself as somebody else. You say, I am whatever. And so the I is one. And you are one with the source. They all go together. So if the infinite is within me and the infinite is within you, when you pray and you say, I ask for this, please help me. Please help me. Not please help them. Please help me to be guided, to be peaceful, to be calm, to be protected. All of these different things, you're speaking to the infinite within you, your creator, however you got here, right? So just keep that little piece in mind. You guys know I can like go off in a tangent and start prophesizing. So these feelings of worthlessness, guilt, fixating on the past. Hello, hello. How many people here always fixating on the past? The past is useless. The past already happened. It's useless. Being able to move forward is where your power is. And so the moment that you're giving into always thinking about the past, always ruminating on the past, they did this to me, they did that to me, this happened, this happened, this happened, you're not going forward. You're staying back there. Your future's in the front. I don't know about you, but my future's in the front. Tomorrow is another day and it's forward, not yesterday, which is behind, right? So feelings of sadness, of tearfulness, right? That kind of is more so in the depressive state, right? These feelings of, oh, it's never going to get better. It's never going to get better. I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know how to get out of this, right? These feelings of emptiness, hopelessness, right? All of those feelings are oftentimes blocking us from our connection to our divine self and to the divine as a concept, right? Sometimes people lose interest. They don't want to leave the house. They don't want to take care of themselves. I can always tell when someone is really going through a strong depressive state by the way that they carry their hair or the way that they carry themselves in general. And I'm sure we have all seen loved ones who their aura is just very, very low energy, right? Being tired, feeling a lack of energy, a lack of interest in doing things. And I would have to say, the other one that I noticed oftentimes, even in my own life when I was younger, and definitely with other people, is this lack of action, procrastination that is chronic, right? That this way of just not moving, not moving. Or I love all the analysis of ourselves, right? I know this about myself. I know this about myself. Okay, but I'm not doing anything about it. Those are mental patterns that are oftentimes being blocked through some kind of emotional trauma or baggage. And so, spirituality, I'm going to talk a little bit more now about how do we break through some of that. One of the things that I do in a session that I have and I do as a group is letting go, right? Letting go exercises is maybe one of the best things to do and to start doing very intentionally. She says that's me. I'm the procrastinator queen. Is one of the first things that we can do is to exercise letting go, right? And so here's an easy exercise to do to start to kind of move and to break this energy that just kind of makes you feel like you're not really moving. One is you're going to get some milk. And if you have not seen my milk cleanse of the gods, one of the videos on our channel, definitely do that. It's very easy. But for today, I will tell you, you're going to get a little bit of milk. And for people who are really into the tradition, they can get a little bit of cascarilla and they can get a little bit of coconut water. But for today, it's milk, water, and a little bit of salt. Milk, water, little bit of salt. Only enough milk to turn the water white. And you're just going to bathe with that. So you take a shower, you just pour it on yourself. If you want to get in the tub, have at it, right? You're going to do this for 2 to 4 days. Any kind of milk, preferably real milk. So we're not talking about almond milk, rice milk, any of those things, right? We're talking about real milk, whether and cow and goat's milk. A lot of you guys know I always say that goat's milk is the strongest. Only enough to turn the water white of whatever the receptacle is that you're using. Preferably you want to use something it's like a good sized basin so you can really pour it on yourself. If you have short hair or no hair, or you don't mind your hair getting wet, definitely do it from the head down. Wear light colors on your head and wear light colors to sleep for those days that you're doing it. 4 days is ideal. To start to pull away some of that blocked energy. Is coconut milk okay? Yes, it is. And if you watch the milk video that I did, the milk cleanse, you'll see me use coconut oil, coconut milk, all of that stuff. So by doing that for 4 days, starts to bring forth this brightening to your aura. Did you hear that? Brightening to your aura. So if a person is feeling anxious, they're feeling depressed, the first thing you want to do is give your aura a jolt. Why? Because people who can see auras, and if you'd like me to do a video on auras, definitely comment below. Different aura can show different colors, and that will also speak to what's going on with the person. You do that, and during those 4 days, you look for one thing per day that, whether it be something that you used to wear that you just absolutely loved, you get that thing and you get rid of it. Something you don't wear anymore. We all have something that we're like, oh my God, I used to love this thing. I don't want to let it go yet, right? You get something, you find something that day. I don't care if they're shoes, clothes, a book, a jacket, whatever it is. And when you're throwing it away outside of your home, you say, I let this go for something better. That's it. I let this go for something better. So these are exercises that you can do that are very simple. I've given you something that is so simple to do. Anyone can do it to start to break away these disempowering feelings, right? These disempowering feelings. We're here to be empowered. Empowered. The moment that you're disempowered, you're not moving forward. So here's some ways. I'm going to give you 8 different ways that you can start outside of the one that I just gave. So that one makes 9 on how to break through using your spirituality to break anxiety, to break depression, to break procrastination, to break inaction, right? And that will destroy false evidence appearing real. Got me? I want to see a thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this. All right. I like that. Oh boy. 9 is divine. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So, one is opening your third eye. Because if your third eye is blocked, I think some of you guys are writing notes today, and I hope so. So, if your third eye is blocked, that also is clouding you from clear spiritual vision, right? And again, I would love for you all to give me some comments for lives because I have so much material, but some of this material that I would love to share with you is not really for live, some of them. So definitely give me some topics, right? Writing notes is also a very good one, to journal. Clearing your crown chakra, right? Because your crown chakra is where we receive information from the divine. This is why it's on the crown. The head guides the body doesn't guide the head. So the crown chakra is there to align us, right? So this is why I say to you, if you're able to pour this mixture on your head going down, now you're clearing your head or your mind, if you will, and you're clearing some of your chakras and bringing your body into alignment. Bringing your body into alignment brings your mind, your body, your spirit into alignment, brings forth clarity. One of the first reasons why we feel anxious and we feel depressed is we don't have clarity. So clarity is one of the key components to moving forward. Clarity is one of the key components to breaking the stagnation and the disempowered feelings that we have as a result. And these are mental patterns. In the Yoruba faith, they talk about Ori. And so if you haven't seen my Ori video, definitely watch that, right? Where we talk about your natural born GPS that you're born with to bring you to your highest good, bring you in focus, bring you in alignment so that you can live the life that you're here to live and reach your highest good. Can I do it? Yes, you can. You can do it while you're on your cycle, this particular bath, right? So increase prayer, right? It said to you all, pray, pray, and pray some more. Right? Notice I didn't say pray in a particular way, in a particular system. If you are in a particular spiritual tradition or religious tradition, do you, right? Use the tools that you have available that you are comfortable with. But if you're a person that you say, oh, well, I'm just kind of getting on my journey, I'm just really starting to feel it, then just pray. I said earlier, the eyes within you, you know, whatever word you want to say. I like to say the divine. You say whatever word you want. I ask for guidance. I ask for calmness. I ask for protection. Ask for abundance, open roads. I ask for stability in my life, clarity, good people around me, trust, respect, dot, 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 right? Ask for what you want. They say, knock, and the door will be open unto you. So ask for what you want. If you don't ask, the universe is not going to bring it to you. This is why we go through affirmations. Notice both of those words have a at the beginning, right? So by we affirm it, right? A lot of people are saying, "Oh, I'm doing affirmations." The moment that you start doing a lot of affirmations, I guarantee you, you're not going to be suffering from anxiety and depression because you're affirming what you want and you're going to be taking action towards it. Once it starts coming in, you're not going to have time to think about false evidence appearing real, right? And I would say breath work, doing breathing exercises, learning how to do. Oh, thank you so much for putting the link to the video in there, the Ori video. So doing breath work can be very empowering, right? Because the breath is life. And the moment that you're focused on doing breath work, it's going to help you to break through that. So someone just put Florida water. I've got two more things. So I want to show you a few things that we have in the store that you can use to start to clear yourself, to refresh yourself, and to make a breakthrough. It says, the person's okay. Could get caught up with these comments. So Florida water, right? We've got Florida water here. You can use other kinds of spiritual waters. Florida water is great because it has a citrus scent. And for those of you who has not seen my top 10 colognes video, please watch that, right? Colonia 1800 is one of my favorites as well. Great substitute or parallel substitute to Florida water. Things that have citrus are effervescent, right? Those kind of wake you up. So things like that are good. If you're into essential oils, make something with essential oils and spray it on you. Spray it in your environment. Things like that. You can also put Florida water mixed with water. Put it in a spray bottle and spray it. Why? Because your guides, one, will come closer. Two, if you're praying, they're going to hear you. They're going to push you in that direction of what it is that you say that you want. My clearing powder. My clearing powder, you can use it on the bed. You can put two scoops of it in water, bathe with it. You can blow it in your environment. You can put it on a child's bed. It's for babies all the way up to adults. So things that are white, remember we talked about white medicine in the white cleansing video. White is illuminating, right? Illuminate yourself. Remember I said the white bath is brightening. So these kinds of things will be very helpful. This is cascarilla. And from Africa, we also sell efun, which that is a clay that this is the New World version, and efun is directly from from Nigeria. These are things that you can use. You can put them in water, bathe with them. Put crosses on your hands, your feet, put some on your bed, things like that to lift your aura, right? Eucalyptus oil. Eucalyptus essential oil we have, and this is fantastic to clear you. Peppermint, great for the temples, right? Things that wake you up, wake you up. Because if we, again, all of these things can be sprayed, they can be used on the body, mixed with other oils, carrier oils, put in spiritual baths, and so on. Incense, right? Some people deal more with the nose, then the eyes, then the tongue, right? Depending on what your senses are. So incense, this one we have, and this one, it has serenity, vitality, harmony, relaxation, tranquility, uplifting, right? Things that are going to uplift you. So you can have different incense in your home that helps to bring up the vibration, but also to clear the air, right? Some people are really into sage. Well, sage is okay to clear the air, and to also be prayerful. But if you're a person that you want to keep that vibration up, of course, sage is going to go down. So, different ways to change your environment. Changing your environment is one of the first things outside of throwing, letting go, right? So, the sixth thing, well, the seventh thing, exercise. Get outside. I had someone who she had postpartum depression after she had her second child. And it was getting so bad that Spirit told her, every day that you wake up, the first thing you need to do is go outside. After you use the restroom and do brush your teeth, do whatever you need to do, go straight outside. If you can go straight outside when you get up, do so. Why? Because she needed to have air, natural moving air outside. She needed to see the sun, vitamin C, right? There are times, as a sidebar, people who are low in vitamin D can suffer from depression. So I would say if you're having any kind of depressive episodes that are happening too much, you want to check your levels in your body. And then the last thing that goes without mentioning, right? I did a video on you're meditating and you don't even know it, is being mindful, right? Being in a meditative state, sitting quietly and allowing the divine to come in, even if you're just sitting and praying in your mind, or you're saying, thank you, I'm grateful for. A lot of times when we're suffering with any kind of mental disorder, like depression, like anxiety, we're not being grateful. Why? Because if you're being thinking about hopelessness, thinking about things are not going to work out, then we're not being grateful. And the source rewards gratefulness. So let me see who's got some comments or some questions before I close. Oh, I have a few. How do I open my third eye? Whole nother video. But I would say that one of the first things you can do, if you have any kind of anointing oil or you put cool water. In my Ori video that someone was nice enough to put the link for in this live, in that video, I show you how to start to clear your third eye. And so again, doing the milk and water is a great way to start to clear not only your crown chakra, but your third eye at the same time. And I make a snake oil. That's really fantastic for that. There are people who come and buy 2 or 3 at a time. So that's fantastic. It's like almost instantaneous to clear your third eye. What does it say about children? What was that comment about? Oh, okay. Absolutely, they work for children. In the beginning, I talked a little bit about a young lady who was, how old was she at the time? She was 12. And then she jumped a grade. I'm like, wow, that really worked for her, right? So all these things that I'm sharing with you today are mild enough to do for children. Um, okay. So the child in particular that you may be asking about, I'm not sure if this child is a bit disruptive. And for disruptive children, if it's not an environmental problem, as in problem at home, problem at school, their social well-being, I would say that you may want to do a light cleansing on them. Maybe again the milk, salt, and water, or we sell a cut and clear soap that can be used on children, and we have a dragon's blood soap that can be used on children. Sunbathing, ashe. Um, how how to wake yourself up without feeling jittery. So, you're going to try some of the things that I talked about, because the things that we talked about are calming. The first way is you first need to be calm. Jittery says, I'm not calm, right? So, the first thing that you have to do is to start doing things to calm yourself. and to to yourself, right? When we become adults, there's no one giving you the, hey, you could do it like you do for children, right? We have to do it for ourselves, which is why I say that one of those things is self-prayer. Self-prayer, letting go, getting clarity, breath work, exercise, or getting some natural stimulation from nature. These are wonderful ways to start to break out of that. And someone mentioned self love. Sometimes I want to just say, as a sidebar before we close, is that if we don't know how to love, just love freely, it's hard sometimes to love ourselves. And so that's where the self talk comes in. I am whole. I am good. I'm unique. The divine has put me here for a plan and a purpose. Whatever it is that you need to say every day, every day, every day, so that you start to be focused more on you. Many times I notice that people who are very kind of upset sometimes, it's partially because they're too focused on putting all their energy out on everyone else and not enough energy for them. So we're going to get ready to close. Let's see if there are any comments. I wait. Oh, that went by very quickly. So, my friends, if your partner is having emotional disturbance, you want to be doing some cleansings on yourself so that you do not absorb some of that in sleeping with the person. So, I hope you all enjoyed today. Thank you so much for participating. And definitely go back and watch this live and check some of the resources that I have on the channel. Lots of resources for empowerment. We talk about meditation. We've talked about Ori, your higher self, how to do cleansings to lift your aura, and much, much more. So, love you all. Thank you so much for your participation. Remember to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share us with others, and come visit us in the store. See you next time. Give me a little bell. Ashe, ashe, ashe.